Hello, I'm Richard from Pleasureway Industries. I'm an RV service tech, and today we're going to be doing a walkthrough on the 2024 Plateau XLTS. We're going to start right at the driver's door, point out some components as we move around, then move inside and show you how all the appliances work inside there. So we're going to start here right at the driver's door. We're going to open this up and show you where we access our fuel fill. Nice and easy right here. Diesel, of course. You have to have the driver's door open in order to have access to this. So it makes it secure as well. People can't get in there without when your doors are locked. Now, while we're right here, right along your side post here, we've got your occupant and cargo carrying capacity sticker. This gives you the specific weight carrying capacity of your vehicle. And that tells you how much you can carry for occupants, how much cargo you can carry, and it also gives you your tire sizes and tire pressures for front and back on the vehicle for you. So always make sure that you check that capacity so that you know that you are under that limit with the amount of stuff you're carrying inside your vehicle. Next thing we have is our sewer connection. Twist here, this pops up. Now we have access to our sewer connection. We just pop this cap off and we put our sewer hose on here, and then we drain our black tank and then our gray tank when we get to a dumping station. Our sewer hose is in a mounted container at the back, and we'll show you that when we get down there. Next access door we have is for our generator and propane fill. So we get this in here, we've got our main generator here, and then our propane fill off to the left-hand side here. So when you're pulling up to a service station, you want to make sure this is near their fill hose system. When you pull up, their certified techs will come out and do this. You have to have a certification in order to fill this. You can't do it yourself. And they'll come out and they'll open the bleeder valve and they'll hook up their line. And like I said, once they see a little bit of liquid propane coming out there, they know the tank is full. They'll shut it off, close everything up, and then they should put this cap back on. I mention that because I want to make sure that you double check before you leave that they've put that cap back on to keep any dirt and dust out of there, make it easier for filling this next time you need to do it. Now, the generator can be controlled from inside the unit on the screens, or up in the top right-hand corner here, there is a manual button as well to turn it on and off from the outside as well. Just below that, there is a breaker. So if you've lost power from your generator, it's running, but it's not sending power into the unit, just come and check to make sure this little breaker is turned into the on position. So above the generator, we do have our output for our furnace. This is our exhaust. The one thing you want to make sure is that you make sure your door to your generator is closed when you're running your furnace. The heat from the exhaust can cause some damage to the door, and also we want to make sure that the exhaust has the ability to come out, so we want to make sure that's clear at all times. Now next we have our utility center. This is where we connect most of our other external components. We start off at the top here with the on-off switch for our propane tank. Once our tank is filled through the fill at the bottom there, and so we just turn it to on. That's an electronic switch that opens the valve and allows the gas to flow through your unit now. Now you can use your components such as your generator, your water heater, and your furnace now that that is on. So one safety note, when we're refueling, either with diesel or propane, one thing we want to make sure is that our propane switch is off in the off position. And we also like to have that off while we're driving. That makes sure that there's no propane flowing through the unit. Now just below that is our city water connection. That just pops open. There's a little filter inside here and allows us to hook up a garden hose to this. And this will now give us the ability to run the water system without the pump or without water in our freshwater tank. This will pressurize the system and allow us to use all our taps and showers. Beside that is our cable. Some campgrounds still have coax outputs for cable television, and this allows you to hook up that as well. And lastly in here we have our main 30 amp cord connection. So this is your cord that comes with your Pleasureway unit. You'll notice there's a red indicator light. This shows that we have power coming from our shore supply. When you plug it in, it just pops in, locks in place, and then there's a little collar here that locks it in so it doesn't get pulled out. Then you can go inside to your monitor, and we'll show you that in a while, and select what amperage power you want to use for the unit. If you're plugged into 15, 20, or 30 amp power, you can make that selection and the unit will select what appliances can be used at that point. So on our shoreline end, before we plug in, we like to put a surge protector system in line. We recommend it. Like I said, that protects your unit from any surges coming from your power source. Okay, so the next little access we have is our shower. They use a 751 key. You have a shower hose, which is about 3 feet here, pulls out and can just push in the stand here. Makes it nice and easy for access to the outside of the unit for washing bikes, kids, dogs, anything you need to clean up before it goes inside the unit. Now beside that, we have our freshwater fill. So this allows us to fill our freshwater tank to carry water with us. This cap just pops off. You just stick your garden hose in there and make sure your valve on your fresh tank is closed, and this will fill it up. And then you can go inside, watch your monitors, and it will show when your fresh tank gets to the full point where you can turn off your tap, close this up, and you're ready to go. Okay, so the last appliance we have on this side of the unit is the water heater. Just a little access door, pops out. It's got little straps to keep the door from falling off. Inside here we have a couple things we usually need to do. Open up the drain here and put our filter in. Got marked top so it makes it easy to remember. And then once the filter's in, you just snap that in place and that will allow you to fill up with water at that point. And then before you go inside to do the controls, you just come over to the right hand side and switch this into the on position. Like I said, you'll get a little green light letting you know it's on, ready to be controlled from inside the unit. So now that you get your water heater ready here, we'll go inside, and when you first turn on your pump, the one thing you want to make sure you do is open a hot water tap. That allows the air to come out of the reservoir as it's filling the water heater. And then when you've got your water flowing, the water heater is ready to be used. Okay, so below our appliances here, we do have an access to a storage compartment. We have a big storage tub here. It's a plastic tub, so it's nice to be able to put wet and dry things inside there. And then below the compartment here, we have our sewer hose holder. So just gives a quarter turn, and inside here is our sewer hose for draining our tank when we go to dumping station. It slides back in there, and then that locks in place for travel. Okay, so on the back of the unit, we have a couple of things we want to show. At the top, just above our rear window, we have our 2 cameras. The top one being our rear view mirror camera that can come on and show what's behind you while you're driving. And the second one shows on your main monitor on your dash, and it will come on when you put the vehicle in reverse. One other thing to show is we do have a hitch system behind here. We have a receiver and we have a 7-pin wiring system. Gives you the option for a bike carrier or a storage pod on the back of the unit here. So coming down the passenger side, starting at the back, we have a couple of storage compartments. One's right at the very back here, nice wide open, even has a little bit of a shelf here to put some small components. This is right where we usually keep your power cord and your tire repair kit. And then just in front of the tire, we have our second storage compartment. It's a large access compartment. It allows you to put some bigger components inside here. So now above our storage compartment, we have our outlets here. These are GFI controlled outlets. The GFI is inside. We'll show you that when we get in there. The GFI controls all the outlets inside the unit here. Now below this, we have our BBQ Quick Connect. It's got a little yellow cap on here and a little valve on the side. That cap comes off, allows us to put our Quick Connect hose inside here. And then once you've connected it, you pop that little lever up. That allows the valve to open and allows the gas to flow through to your barbecue. So this is a regulated BBQ Quick Connect. So items that are connected to this may not operate if they have a regulator in line. So you want to make sure that when you get barbecue or another appliance that it hooks up here, that it does not have a regulator in line or it won't work. Okay, so this is our main entry door. Like I said, it's a 2-stage door, so you have to make sure it's pushed all the way shut. Like I said, it sometimes takes a little bit of pressure to get her to latch in place. And then, like I said, you've got your handle lock and your deadbolt. and you need to have it in the second stage in order for the deadbolt to lock in place. We do have a power step on this unit, so when you open the door, the step automatically comes out. There's a switch on the main control panel that when you have it in the on position, it'll come out and close with the door. When you have it in the off position, it will come out and stay out so that when you open and close the door, the step will stay in the out position. So no matter which position that switch is in, when you start up the vehicle, the step will automatically retract so that it's stowed away for transport. So now I'm going to quickly step inside and get at our monitor here and show you how to extend the awning. So we'll go to the mechanical control button here, and then on the top left hand corner we've got our awning, and we'll just push the extend. Now this awning, you have to hold the button for the awning to come out all the way. Now once I get it completely extended, then I like to bring it in just a little bit to tighten up the fabric. And then we can go to the lighting screen and we can actually turn on the LED lights under the front screen of the awning. Now this is what we consider a sunshade awning, which means it doesn't have any external supports or anything. So it's designed to be out when it's sunny, just to give you shade. It's not meant to be out in the rain and stuff like that. Though we do have a little safety feature built in. Up just above this arm here is a wind sensor. So if this fabric moves about 5 to 10 degrees and flaps in the wind a little bit, it will automatically retract and protect your awning from any major wind. Okay, just at our main entry step, we also have a little access for a tool storage area. It just pops out like so. And this gives us access to another little storage box underneath the step. Okay, so behind our driver's seat, we have our access to our low point drains. We have a little compartment here that just pops off with 4 screws. And then we've got our 3 valves here to drain our low points. So in here we have our 3 valves. We have our cold water, we have a recirculating line, and we have our hot water lines. So normally all 3 of them are in the closed position like now, and then we just give them a quarter turn to drain them, and then in the winter we usually leave our recycling line open, and then we close up our compartment and we're ready for winter. Okay, so we're going to show you now the Lagun Table system. They said it's got a mounting bracket here just behind the driver's seat, as well as one on the passenger side ottoman at the back, so that you can move your table from front to back if you want. They are controlled by these little lever systems which tighten and loosen the pinch points here. They said you just twist them. If you're getting to an area where you can't turn it anymore, you can just push the little knob at the end and turn this. That gives you more turning radius. Also allows you to move this out of the way if it's getting in your way when you're using it. And then you can adjust up and down like so. And then the table will just spin into place so that you can use it for whatever you need it. Okay, so 3 standard safety features on all our Pleasureway units include a fire extinguisher right by the door, a smoke detector mounted on the ceiling just outside your kitchen, and then a carbon monoxide propane detector just inside your kitchen. So one thing about our safety features here, our smoke detector and our carbon monoxide detector both have test buttons on them. So we like to test those both before you go camping. The smoke detector has a 9-volt battery that, like I said, when we test it, just to make sure it's working. And the carbon monoxide detector is wired into our main system. And again, we'll push the button just to make sure that everything's working before we go camping. All right, so we're going to go through the kitchen here. They said first thing we have is our sink with a removable cover, which allows us to use it as a cutting board. The sink itself has got a sprayer pull-down nozzle, so we can wash out the inside nice and easy. Behind that, we've got our window. They said each window has a pull-down blind system with magnetic catches on the bottom to keep it in place. And then just give it a pull to retract back into place. These are also opening windows with just a turn knob at the bottom corner on this one. So then we just slide this back in place. And again, like I said, it can give us a bigger countertop if we need for working. Then we've got our induction cooktop, which is connected into our main system, can run on any of our power sources, our inverter, our battery, or our generator and shore power. Just quick on and off, like I said, and then it gives us the controls. Though you do need specialty pots, like I said, that will pull the magnet on the system. Like I said before, any of these controls will allow it to turn on and off completely. So above our kitchen, like I said, we have our cabinets. Like I said, throughout the unit, we have the specialty locking system now. We just give this thing a push in, which releases the catches. There's one on each side on this. And then we have a spring-loaded hinge that holds the door up so we can get things in and out with ease. And then again, when you put it down, just give it a push in to lock it in place. So keep all your stuff inside your cabinet while you're traveling. Besides that, we have our microwave. This is a basic standard household microwave, so it just works like what you've got at home. Below the countertop, we've got a couple of doors here. These just push in, pop out, and that becomes a handle to open and close our doors, as well as our drawers. Like I said, they pop open and the doors slide out and allows us access. Now, to remove these doors, if you need to, underneath there's a little catch on both sides. You just push them and then the door slides out. In this case, we did this because in behind here is also where our water pump is for winterizing our unit. Just mounted on the wall in the back here. The door just pops back on to the tracks. Slide them forward, push in, and locks it in for travel. So the last component in our kitchen, just across from our countertop, is our fridge unit. These are now a compressor 12-volt fridge system. Nice and easy, you just push the little button, lights will start flashing, then you can adjust your temperatures and for freezer compartment temperatures. And then we have a night mode, which turns our fan into low run mode, so that it's a little quieter for night. And then when you open up, so we've got some LED lights inside and access to a separate freezer compartment. And then just push that button again and all your components will turn off. So directly across to the kitchen is our bathroom. We've got double doors here that open up. They're magnetic lock system. So they latch in place or travel. Now off to the far left-hand side of the bathroom is our full stand-up shower with a removable head latching mechanism for the doors. And then the doors both have a magnet as well to help keep that locked in place as well. Like I said, just as a little precaution while we're driving. Now beside that is our toilet. It is a standard high mount toilet. This is a foot flush. So on the far right hand side, we've got our flush. We just push that down and that allows our water to flow and wash any waste out into the bottom into our black tank. Now with our toilet, of course, one thing we always want to remember is when we start off, we want to make sure we put some toilet chemical into the black tank to help break down our waste. And we want to make sure we're using RV toilet paper in this as well. That will help break down as well. Now above that, we've got another window with a pull down blind, just like in our kitchen. We've got another outlet, again, GFI controlled. And then we've got our bathroom sink here with hot and cold and just a little basin. Now above that, we have a couple of storage compartments. Again, just gives us a little bit of space to put some extra toiletries and stuff in here. And then on the far right-hand side of the bathroom, we have our monitor system. So now I'm going to slip inside here, and the monitor at the top has levels for our fresh, black, gray, and propane tanks. And then below that, it's got light controls for our bath, vanity, and accents. And then below, we've got our water pump, so we can turn the pump on and off from the bathroom. And we also have our water heater. We can turn it on from here or from the other two monitors in the unit as well. All right, so now we're at the back of the unit, and the first thing we're gonna actually show you is the bed here. Like I said, so we're gonna go to our monitor off to my left here, go to the mechanical screen, and then extend the sofa to start with. And push the extend button and the sofa folds down into a flat space. And that gives us ability to use that as just a single bed if we want, or now we can expand it, put our extensions in. We come over here, underneath here, there's a pull-out extension and it locks in place. And then we can take our two covers for our seats and lock them in place. And now we've got our full bed mounted in the back of the unit here. Okay, so down below our driver's side ottoman, we also have a pull-out drawer as well. Nice big deep one. And again, locks in place for travel. They said there is actually a lock here as well for our bed extension. And we just latch that in place to keep that locked for travel so that it doesn't slide around as well. Now if we come around the corner, we have a GFI and USB access ports. Now this GFI is the main GFI for all the plugs in the unit. This controls all the outlets, and what happens is if it trips, it'll come, a little red light will come on. Now none of the plugs in the unit will work. So if you have a problem with the plug-in, come check this outlet, and then you just push this little button, it resets it. When the green light's on and the red light's off, you're ready to go. All your outlets should work. Now above this, we have little access panel, our little access ports around the unit. Like I said, that gives us drink holders and just a little basic storage around the bed at the back here. Then on the passenger side, we have the same thing. Little access ports, gives us the ability to store some stuff here. And then down below, we have another plug-in and a USB port. Okay, above our driver's side ottoman, we have our entertainment center. And like I said, we've got our TV with a little pull cord here that releases our TV so we can pull it out and adjust it around. We've got our sound bar, which is automatically mounted into the television. So anything coming through the TV will also come out through the sound bar as well. And then, like I said, we just make sure this swings around to the passenger side and latches in place for travel. Now to turn on the antenna, we get into the compartment just behind the television. And on the top left-hand corner is our antenna controls. Just turn it on, push the search button, and it will automatically search for your television channels and tell you where they are. Now on the right-hand side, we have two GFI outlets. They control our microwave and our induction. Starting on the left-hand side, we have our microwave, and our right-hand side is the induction. They will trip just like our normal GFI. You'll get the little red light, and then there's a button on there, just like on the other GFI, to reset them and allow the power to flow through them again. Okay, so on our passenger side ottoman, we'll just pop the covers off here. This is where we store our table, and also where we have access to our two 300 amp hour lithium ion batteries. So we're going to talk about your batteries in the unit. Now, to charge these batteries, there are four sources in this unit. First of all, your alternator. When you're running your vehicle, the alternator sends a charge back to charge the batteries. Second source would be your shore power. When you have the unit plugged in, shore power comes in, runs through your inverter and charges your battery system that way. Then your generator is another source, which creates the power, again, goes through your inverter and charges your battery system. And then your last source would be your solar system, which has its own charge controller. The power comes down through it, through your charge controller, to charge the batteries in the back. Just a note about your charge system, none of those charge systems will charge your chassis battery. It will only be charged by your alternator when your vehicle is running. So one component of your charging system is a master volt charger. It is mounted in the rear by your batteries, and what it does is it prevents any surges of power coming from your alternator into the lithium ion batteries, just to make sure that it's got steady charge going into those batteries, just as a prevention method. So on the bottom left-hand corner here, we have our red switch. This is our main 12-volt disconnect switch. This disconnects all 12-volt sources from the batteries. So you just hit the off button, it disconnects all 12-volt sources, and then when you turn it back on, everything is reconnected. They said main reason we use this is so that we don't have any draws on our batteries when we're not using the unit. So when you've got it in storage, or when you're not going to be using your unit for an extended period of time. One thing we wanted to point out here is under the hood, we don't actually have a battery mounted here. It's actually mounted under the feet of the driver's floorboards, but there are charge points here. A little red thing here, just turn that, push it back, put your jumper cables on there. And then for the negative, we just have a little brass connector up here on the sidewall. Okay, so just below the sofa is where our main electrical controls are. So we're gonna open that up. So we'll just open up our storage compartment, drop this down, and show you all the components. So in our center console, we have two master disconnect switches. The first one being on the left-hand side is our inverter master disconnect. This switch allows the coach batteries to charge through the inverter when on shore power or operating the generator. Whenever you're using the unit, you want to make sure that's in the on position. That allows the inverter to connect to the batteries and to run all your appliances when you're not plugged into shore power running your generator. And then for winter, when you're not using the unit or whenever the unit's put away and you don't want anything draining on the batteries, you shut that off and that will disconnect the inverter from the main battery controls. So on our right hand side, we have in the red, we have our charge line master switch. This controls the power coming into your batteries from your solar and from your alternator. So if you're not getting a charge when you're running your engine or sitting in a sunny day, come and check to make sure this is in the on position. So you just give it a switch over like so, and that will allow the power to flow through it. So our system no longer carries removal of fuses. We now have resetting breakers. So if there's some sort of short or a power surge or such, we've got a list here of 6 different systems that are controlled by these 6 different resetting breakers. So what will happen is if, say, your step stopped working, you'll feel that number 6 is firm and you'll just press it in to reset it. On the far left hand, we have a couple of components that are mainly accessible for service techs. We've got our sofa controller and we have our awning controller. And then on the right hand side, we've got 2 breakers here. The bottom breaker is our alternator charge input. This protects the master volt charger from the engine alternator. If you're not getting a charge from the alternator, come and check to make sure that this little yellow lever has not been tripped. Pop that in, and that will allow the charge from the alternator to reach the master volt and then the batteries. Now above that, we have our generator 12 volt power. So this is what allows the power down to start your generator. So if your generator is not even turning over, won't start at all, come in again, make sure that little yellow lever is not stuck out like that, and then just pop it back in, and that'll allow the power to flow down to your generator. So on the right hand side, we have our power control center. And pop this up, and this gives us our breakers for our 110 power. We've got them all here, and they're all labeled on the bottom. And they'll be tripped. You see it in the down position. You just give a flip up to reset it. Now on the far right hand side, we have one different breaker. This is a GFI breaker for the air conditioner. And like I said, it has a little test button as well. What'll happen is it'll trip. It'll actually come in halfway down. So what you have to do is push it all the way down and then all the way back up to reset itself there. You'll know that that's tripped because you will actually get a fault on your monitors letting you know that your air conditioner is offline, and that will be usually what it is right there. So just something to watch if you're having problems with your air conditioner. You may have this GFI breaker in the breaker panel, or you may have a pass-through GFI located in the closet beside the GFI for the microwave and the induction cooktop. On our far right-hand side, we have our water heater bypass. So we've got our cold line input, which is off. We have our recirculating line, which is off. And we have our hot line output, which is off. And we have our bypass line, which is in the on position right now. This is how you'll see it for winter. In summer, these will all just get a quarter turn, like so, once you've got the antifreeze out of the system, and that will allow the water to flow into your water heater. So on the far passenger side, you'll see a little access door. What this is access to the main G12 control center. This is mainly for service techs and for us to be able to access that and check any wiring and such. But below it, it does have a label that gives some information for your service tech as well about what each one of the plugs does on the G12. Your Pleasureaway unit is equipped with 2 10-inch touchscreen control panels, one in the front and one in the back. And today we're going to be going through the front one here to explain all the features that are included in it. And we're going to start on the home page, which is indicated by the little home button at the top here. So we're going to start in the top left-hand corner here, which is our battery monitor system for the main page. It will tell us how many hours until the unit is full right now because we are charging. It'll tell you how many volts are going into the battery. It actually tells you that we're charging, and then it tells you what the battery temperature is. Then at the top, it tells you how close to charge the batteries are. They're at 82% on this one right now. Below that, it will show a real-time amp meter. It'll show to the right if it's positive, so input, which right now we've got plus 74 amps going into the system. If we were not charging, it would be off to the left and showing a negative amperage, letting us know how much is being drawn from the batteries. Below that, we have our indication of our 110 power source. We've got our shore power, we've got our inverter, and we've got our generator. And then we've also got in the top sort of left above the van picture, we've got our solar indicator as well. These just tell you which source of power we are plugged in right now. So it is showing we are on shore power. So below that, we have our monitors for our fresh tank, gray tank, black tank, and our propane tank. Each one of the water tanks will show you an indicator of 0, 25, 50, and 75, and 100% full. And then the propane will just give a little yellow line showing you how full that tank is, and as it drains, it will slowly come down to the bottom. Beside that, we have our water pump switch. You just give it a tap. It will turn blue, letting you know that your pump is now on and working. Below that, we have our water heater. We've turned on the switch on the outside on the water heater itself. And then we can click on this, and now this takes us to Truma's AquaGo page. So we've got a couple of different options. We've got Comfort and Eco. Comfort is our general use water heater mode. That will allow us to run the water heater like you would normally in your house to supply water as fast as your pump can give it to you. On your far right, we can adjust the temperature of our water output. This is what the temperature of the water coming out of your taps is. So on the eco mode, it will only provide warm water through the system, and then once you start running the hot water tap, it will push the warm water out, and then hot water will follow once the warm water is out of the system. And then of course you can switch it off there, but like so once you've selected a choice, then you push OK, and your water heater will actually turn on and tell you your temperature right on your main page as well. We're actually shut that off for now since we're not using it. There we go. And then it will go back to gray to let you know that your water heater is in the off position. You may see at some points that this will say error. What that means is the switch on your outside water heater has not been turned on yet, and it is not getting power to this board saying that your water heater isn't ready to be working on. So go out, turn on that switch, and then that'll allow you to adjust those controls. So now in our center section here, we have our climate control system with a major thermostat at the top. And then at the bottom, we have our controls for our air conditioner, our furnace, and our powered roof vent. So the first control is our air conditioner. So we're going to turn our temperature down, and then we'll push the air conditioner on button. What will happen is it'll go into shed mode, which will lower the charge if there's a charge on the system, and allows the compressor to kick in. So now we can see that our compressor is kicked in, and the little snowflake has turned blue. There's a little L beside it letting us know that we are in low fan mode. That'll show an L, an M, or an H depending on which mode the fan is running on. Off to the left-hand side here on our real amp meter, we will now see that we're showing a negative amperage draw now that our air conditioner has kicked in and we've dropped out our charge system to run this. Now to turn it off, again, you just push the little button here, it'll shut itself down and it'll turn off automatically. Now there are two other modes for the air conditioner. First one is our night mode. What this does is it will run the air conditioner in low fan with the compressor on low, just to have a steady cool, but to be as quiet as possible for when you're sleeping. It won't kick in and out of medium and high mode. It will just stay in low mode. Now the third mode for the air conditioner is dehumidify. Now what this does is it uses the compressor to pull moisture out of the unit, and again, it will only run in low mode. The compressor will kick on and it will slowly draw the moisture out of the unit. And then we just shut that off by that. And as you saw with these two modes, you lose your fan controls for both of them when it is on. So what you may have noticed is that we are actually running on inverter when we were running the air conditioner here. What that means is that the air conditioner is running off the batteries. This system has been designed so that we can run the air conditioner off any 3 of the power sources as long as we're above 20 amps. Your household most of the time is about 15, so we need at least 20 amps or 30 amps to run the AC system. The inverter will run the air conditioner and all other appliances, and so will the generator on our system, because it runs about 25 amps on a regular basis when it's running. When you're using the batteries on the inverter mode, we have tested and we say that it will run up to 6 hours off the batteries in optimal conditions, meaning your batteries were at full charge when you started and you're not using a lot of other electrical at that time. And our next mode is our furnace, and we just turn it on. We set our temperature. The fan on the furnace will kick in, it will light, and like I said, it will run and shut off. As long as that's on, you will have a little red flame at the top here showing you that the furnace is in the on mode and it is working properly. Then we have our powered roof vent. It's temperature set, so as long as the temperature is close to what it's set, it will open up and exhaust any heat out of the unit in order to cool it down. And then shut it down, it will automatically shut off the fan and close the roof vent for you. So the next area on our system is the quick on lighting controls. We've got our master light. When we click that, it turns on and off all our lights in our unit. We've got our living room lights. Again, like I said, they just turn on and off. They'll gray out when they're in the off mode. Reading lights. And then we actually have a backlight that turns on and off our main screen as well. Below that, we have our generator. This is the sort of the quick access, so you don't have to go searching through the other pages to find the main generator on and off. It's got a start and a stop button on the bottom. You just hold the start button, the generator will start turning over, looking for a fuel source to start it. Also above, we have our AGS system, which is automatic generator start, and it can be set to automatically come on for charging your batteries if they get low, or also for your air conditioning system. And we'll explain more of that when we get to the electrical page. All right, I think that finishes our main page, and now we'll move on to our second page. So our second page is our lighting system. Each area of the unit has a separate light, and each light has a dimmer control, and you can preset the controls for them so that each one works exactly where you want it. Then you can turn the whole system off when you're not going, and if you tap it back on, they will go back to your preset controls. Now if you hold that on, it'll reset them all back to full on, then you can readjust as necessary. You notice that the porch and the awning, which are exterior lights, are in the automatic off, even with the master light. That means you have to manually turn them on to use them. They are separate from the master controls. Okay, so we're done with our lighting. Now we'll go on to our third page, which is our power page. So this now gives you all of our power sources for our unit. Starting in the top left-hand corner here, just like on our main screen, we have our battery monitor that tells you our charging, our battery life, real-time amp meter, and again, we have our temperature sensor on there. Our batteries are designed with an internal heating system with a temperature sensor on the batteries inside. This is a self-contained unit, and it is set up so that if the batteries get below 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, the batteries will stop any incoming charge from the system and will automatically start working on their heaters inside to heat the cells up inside the battery. When the battery cells get above 0 degrees or 32 Fahrenheit, it will automatically allow now the charge to come in and to start charging those batteries. So this heating system is a completely automatic system and nothing that has to be monitored by the user. We are getting a little solar right now, so we will see a green line coming from the solar across to the DC. Just one little note with the solar is there is an on-off button. 90% of the time you're going to want it in the on position. It'll be this little button at the top, which will turn gray when it's off and blue when it's on. So in the center at the model, we have our AC monitor system that tells you how many volts, amps, and frequency of the AC power. That will change depending on our AC sources. We have 3 of them. Our shore power, which shows on the bottom sort of right edge. Above that, we have our generator. And then off to the left-hand side of it, we have our inverter. Each of these 3 sources, the shore power, the generator, and the inverter, will show on the center AC control. You will see little blue arrows showing which source is supplying the AC power at this point. Right now we're at shore power, so that shore power is showing an arrow into the AC and then through the inverter, pass through to the energy management system. You'll notice the inverter says pass through. That means the shore power is passing through the inverter and into our air conditioner, microwave, and cooktop. If we had the generator on, that shore power blue line would be off, and there'd be one above between the generator and the AC, again going through, pass through the inverter to the energy management system. On shore power, we're on right now and we're charging the system. We are on 15 amp. Our unit is plugged into a normal household outlet. The spider control system will automatically control how much power output is allowed to each appliance in the system. If we've got a better plug, say a shop or such, and you can get 20 amp, you can click on that and the system will now say, okay, we've now got 20 amp, we can increase the amount we're charging, we can run more of our appliances. And again, if you're at a campground, you most likely have 30 amp, and now it will say, okay, I've got the maximum amount of power I can get. I can run everything. I can run my charge at full power, and we are set to go on everything. But you need to make that selection. Otherwise, the system may trip a breaker or such saying, I'm trying to draw more power than the system can actually get from the power source. Saying if you're on 30 amp and plugged into a 15 amp at home, it may trip your house breaker saying, I'm trying to draw 30 amps even though I don't have it available. On the generator, we were talking about the AGS. Now we have a selector here to choose how we set it up. There's an easy setup and is the one that most people use. It'll say starting the generator, when would you like it to start? When the batteries are low or when the air conditioner needs power. Perfect. Or you can shut off each individual one if you want it to only do one or the other. Then you can tell it how low the battery needs to be before it will automatically kick in. What level you want the battery to turn off the generator when the batteries have charged enough. How long you want the generator to run, a minimum amount of time and the maximum amount of time. And then if you're at a campground that has times where you can't run a generator, you can automatically set so that the AGS won't kick in during those times, no matter what source you need at that time as well. And then the manual setup allows you to go through and do each one separately, all on one page, and you can fine tune each individual control. And then again, to start it, just push the AGS button, press the continue for 5 seconds, and it'll turn it into the on mode. So one note on the AGS system is that it will automatically disable when the vehicle started, and then it will also disable itself if you manually start the generator. The AGS is not able to set if the generator is running or if the vehicle is in the on position. So now we've turned off our shore power and we are just on inverter, and you'll see that the inverter is now enabled and it has now got the blue arrow down into the energy management system. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have our energy management monitor system. You'll notice that each one of them has a little green light beside it. That's to let you know that each one is enabled right now and everything is working properly. They are in order of which one will kick out. What the energy management does is if the system sees that we are drawing more power than the system has available, it will start shutting down major appliances in order to allow one or the others to continue to run. We have around a maximum of 25 amps draw, which means that because of how efficient our air conditioner and appliances are, you can run 2 of those at a time. You run your air conditioner and your microwave, or your air conditioner and your cooktop, or your microwave and your cooktop, and those will have enough power in the system to run both of those appliances at the same time. If for some reason it does kick out the system, what you will see is the little green light will turn yellow. to let you know that that one has been shut off. So now this is a completely automatic system. So if you do see that yellow light for, say, the air conditioner or microwave, once the system notices that it has enough power again, it will turn them back on individually as it gets enough power. So once the appliance is available again, it will turn green and you'll need to reactivate the appliance at that time. Specifically the microwave and the induction. As long as you haven't changed your settings on your air conditioner, it will automatically restart. Okay, so that's it for this page. Onto the mechanical control page. So here we have our awning at the top. Extend and retract, fairly simple. If your engine is running, the awning disable light will come on. It'll be red to let you know that your awning will not be able to run. So if you're driving down the road and you switch it to this page, your awning will let you know that it will not allow you to extend it when that button is on. And then sofa, we put out the sofa earlier, just extend and then retract. Now for our power roof vent, we have a manual control that isn't thermostatically controlled. So we can open and close it. Like I said, that will just allow air to go in and out of the vent itself. We don't have to have anything running. And then we have the option to run the fan as well. And then when the fan is running, we can control how fast we want the speed of the fan as well, from 20 up to 100% running. And then if you push down, it will shut off the fan and automatically close the vent for you. So the last page is our diagnostic systems and screen settings and basic information. We can adjust our screen brightness. We can change between Celsius and Fahrenheit. We can change whether or not we want light or a dark screen. We can set our time. We can set it to a 24-hour clock. It tells you what model of unit we are running. Then screen settings. Again, you can tell how long you want your screen to stay on, what you want on your default page to be when you turn on the screen, and then what light you want to be on that main home screen. You can adjust them here from master lights to, say, you want your entry light instead of turning all the lights on at one time. And you can adjust those just by going through and change that to adjust which light you want. And then diagnostics. This is mainly for techs to go through and tell us which modules are running, or if you're having some issues, we can go through and all the blue lights say that everything's running properly. This one tells us which loads the G12 system is using at this time, which lights are on, what power is working. If there's a problem, one of these will turn red to let you know that it is not working at the time. You just shut down the system, turn it back on, and it will reset that automatically in the G12 system. Then we have our power system. We have 3 different areas. We have the battery monitor, which gives us more detailed information about battery levels, how many cycles the batteries have charged and such. Then our solar charging, we have our charging information, the settings, power ratings, and then we actually have a history that will tell you, how much power has been put into your system, how long they've run and such. And then same with the inverter charger. Like I said, we've got how much power is going out, what our average charge rate is, and such, all controlled here. Again, mostly for techs to be able to see if there's been anything that's going wrong. Say you're not getting as many charge cycles on your batteries you should have been with the amount you've been using the unit. This will let us know whether or not it's doing it properly or not. So this takes us through our main functions of our control panel and touchscreen, and then you just revert to your home page and you're set to go. Okay, that's our walkthrough for our 2024 Plateau XLTS. Like I said, make sure to read your Pleasureway manual. Also check out your Mercedes chassis manual. And if you have any questions, contact your local Pleasureway dealer.